is my main man, dropped this little compressor off at my place the other day. He got it out of the scrap, and I was just kind of curious what was wrong with it. So we're going to pull it apart. It's a little 1.5 horsepower, but I've got a sneaking feeling it's got no oil in it. So let's have a look inside, because it's one of those cheapy, it says King Canada, but it's just one of them cheap compressors. I mean really cheap. But if you can see what it drives, you know, if it works. Somebody's cut the cable off it. But there's a reset button here, and I just wonder if they've actually not pressed the reset. How does that come off? Is there another screw in there? That handle's a bit annoying. That's strange. How does that come off? It's like a chicken and an egg thing. So I actually, this is the first time ever I've run out of memory card, and I was doing a video on this. I didn't realise the card was full. Anyway, listen, I've got this little compressor here, and I stripped it down to find out it wouldn't work, and the motor runs. I shall prove this to you using the force of electricity. Yeah, works like a champ. So what's wrong with it? Well, this might have something to do with it. The rod had broke. What it had done was it seized around this pin here, and I managed to, using a thing called a file and a handy little device, wherever I've put it, here. This little, you know, file thing, whatever it's called, I managed to polish the pin up and then finished it off with a bit of emery, which is somewhere, I don't know where the hell that is. Oh yeah, a little bit of very fine 600 grit, and then just go round and round it like that, polish it up. Because what it had done is, and this is the point of this video, if you've got a little compressor like this, it's not a cheap shit thing. I know they're all, you know, they're only cheap, but they're handy sometimes. Put some oil in them, check the oil. That's all we ask. You know, there's a little sight gauge here. I was looking for where I put it. Oh yeah, look, you see. There's a little thing goes in here. It's got a little red dot in it. Doesn't mean it's an Indian woman or out like that. It's got a red dot there, look, see? And that's your level. There was nothing in it. This was absolutely black hacky burnt. You can probably see by the state of the inside of the piston there. So the moral of the story is, check your oil, put some in, because once the oil's burnt and it's low, it can't pick up. Now, how much is it going to cost to fix this? $14. £7. That's how much a new rod is. Nothing really. So I'm going to fix it and get a rod, and I can actually get one locally. Yeah, we can get this running again. I'm going to be kind of pleased with that. I'll give them away, you know. All stuff like this, I just give it away. But over here, when we've got contractors working with nail guns, this actual device came with a nail gun, you know, for putting things on with nails, wood, I suppose, or shingles. And yeah, they're kind of handy. So it's a week or two later, we're back onto this compressor here, because I've now got a rod. Now the thing was, I'm in no rush for this, but the rod I was going to buy locally was $14, but I got two for $10. Wow, that's cheap. So $5 a piece. I mean, you could make one for that. Does it fit? Yeah, of course it does. Yeah, have a look. So it fits like that, and there's the little end. Fits great, no problem. So I'm going to put these together on here, and then we're going to assemble this. But like I say, this was really dirty inside, so we're going to keep cleaning it a little bit, make sure that there's no dirt and debris stuck in there, and then we'll put this back together. Now, just before I assemble this thing, the little circlips, the eyes should go to the bottom if possible. and not the side, because sometimes when they spin around they can have an opportunity to open up and come out. Just make, these are really tiny, and I have a pair of really tiny circlip pliers, but the problem is these tend to stick because they're on a taper and it sticks in the hole. So with a little screwdriver, just make sure that they're pushed in properly. Now another little thing you should observe with this, it's kind of interesting compared to the other one that disintegrated. See, it's got a pin on there. What's that pin for? Well, it's a flinger. It's a very primitive one. But when it's in the oil, and this is going around L for leather, it'll pick up oil and throw it around, and this has got a little hole just in the top of there. I don't know if you can see. And of course there's another one in the top of the pin, and that's to allow oil in. Now going back to the very old cars, they didn't have oil pumps in them, and this is a similar sort of idea. On the big ends they used to have a little tube that went into the oil, and as the car was going around, oil used to get pumped into here, because like I said, they didn't have any oil pumps, so it used to get pumped in the big end, which is, you know, working a lot. The mains used to be drip fed from drillings at the top. And of course these old engines had side valves, so everything in the crankcases was lubricated. It worked quite well, you know, but like I said, once you start doing overhead valves, there's no oil, so then you need an oil pump. Things you learn here anyway. Anyway, so what we're going to do now is we're going to assemble the piston onto here, and then we're going to slide this onto here. Now this is really nicely polished. I did it and finished it off in 600 wet and dry that was used, so now it's probably about 1,000 grit, so it's going to be really nice. So we're going to clean that off. I haven't got any gaskets for this whatsoever, so all I'm going to do is put some RTV on it. This the right stuff. But I'm going to observe where the old gasket came off, because there were some bits that were, how do we say, they were taken off here and they're stuck on the bottom of the piston here. So I can observe that this one goes this way. You see, there's the bit of gasket stuck on there, so that goes where the gasket's missing. If you put it on the other way, there's a chance of it all being cockeyed. The things you have to do just to save a couple of quid. Right, let's put this together. Right, I've just put some oil in this. It's a 30 weight oil. Unfortunately I can't read the sight glass, it's all black. I tried to clean it out, but you know, you just can't read it. I wonder if I could get another one from somewhere. It doesn't really matter, at least it's got some oil in it. Let's put that down to one side so it spills on the floor. Let's see what this goes like. That goes fast, doesn't it? Huh? Look at that. It's like a racing bike. Remember, you've got to have a breather on here. You know, there's the breather. Make sure that's not plugged up. The simple reason is, when the piston's going down, it'll create the back pressure underneath, and you can actually feel it there, pumping this way. So I'm kind of happy with that. Now I've got to figure out these valves and things here, because when I took it off, I inadvertently forgot to mark up which way these things go. We've got a little gasket, well, not a gasket, but a plate, and we've got some wee needle, well, not needle valves, what would you call them? Reed valves, I think, and a couple of plates. Oh, there we go. So one goes in one side like that, and one goes in the other. Oh, well, they're pretty easy to work out. Let's see how I come on. So I cleaned all the valves and bits and pieces up in the wet bee blaster. It's all nice and clean. However, that's the suction side now. I've got it 180 degrees out, the valve, so I'll have to turn them round. What a muppet. Well, I got this compressor to work, but there is a little problem. You know. However, this pipe that goes to the controller has got a crack in it, and it's letting air out, it won't seal. I'm just thinking what else. See, there's an olive on that end, and that's like a crimp for a car. Wait a minute, which is which? So that one's the olive on the switch. That goes onto there and that goes onto there. I wonder if I could cut that off, stretch that pipe a bit and make it right, I don't know. So after a lot of tomfoolery with this compressor here, I finally got it together and it's running, and I've had it, I've been upstairs for a cup of tea with Lek and it holds air quite well. Now, what I had a problem with was I took this apart several weeks ago and I forgot how to put it back together again. All those little reed valves, I had them all over the place, so I had to sit down and logically work out where they went. Also, I had a royal screw around with this pipe here. I put a piece of 1/4 inch pipe, which should be metric I think, and I had a problem trying to find olives and things like that for them. This was a flared joint, this one is an olive. Oh, what a pain in the ass. Now, it is working, but we ain't going to do any sandblasting with it, that's for sure. It's good for pumping your tyres up, I think. But you can probably see down here, there's a little gauge on there. You see where it's holding pressure? Oop. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let some pressure out by simply clipping in an air tool to the end and powering up this air tool. Now watch this. You'll be amazed how many hours you've got of use. See? So you see those two marks there? Somebody's put those on, that mark there and that mark there and that mark there. So those are the points where the compressor goes on and off. Well, I'm not bothered about that. Like I say, it's good for pumping up tyres, that's about it. Or one of those little staplers, air staplers. And it's reasonably quiet, I suppose. But the moral of the story was for $5 we fixed it. It was in the scrap, so it didn't cost anything. The wire I had, because I always keep wires off old appliances, I cut them and put them on the wall, bloody skinflint. And pipe here, this is the sort of pipe I use for Land Rover clutch hoses, so that's it. So now, I don't know, I think I might give it to Curtis for his tyres or something like that. And I've got another one, a twin cylinder one. It's a bit bigger, but I'm having a job trying to find like a connecting rod for it, so because that's done the same. So the moral of the story is put oil in them, don't run them dry, you know. And like if you sort of look down here, access is really easy to see the oil level, you know. And they're not the sort of thing that burn oil. It's not flammable or anything like that. And I did check the piston seals with some diesel in the top and left it whilst I went for several cups of tea, and it never went down. So therefore the rings are good, because I thought the rings were a bit faulty. It was me, I'd put there was 4 or 6 permutations you could put the reed valves in. It's kind of complicated, and I've never really seen one for a long time. And once I'd worked it out, it wasn't too bad. Now, yeah, that's it. Out of the scrap. That's what we want.